On this video, we're going to be talking about pipe bending on air conditioning and refrigeration, right?
Yep, we are.
So, we've got some lengths of tube, we've strained it if you need straining, or you've got some that's pretty much straight already, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you've done all your pipe prep beforehand.
You've done your deburring and all that. Right, so we need some pipe benders.
Yep. So we have a set here, and we've also got some in the van as well.
So I'll get this out. So we've got something that looks a little bit like nylon to me. You'll explain what that is as a set. We've also got this baby. I don't know what that looks like, a spring.
There should be a black.
No, and then that's one that looks like we talked about it, and then another tiny baby one. Right, so these are the 4 different types of benders.
Yeah, so they're the 4 main types you're going to come across. There are a set of gear benders as well, but they're usually for like your bigger pipe work.
Okay.
Just for
and is it a preference, or is it there's a different pipe bender depending on the size?
They all have their use. Okay. But, I mean, a lot of people just have personal preference.
Right. So these are all available around the UK.
Yeah.
But it's down to maybe what you trained on at college, what you did as an apprentice, what the person who taught you how to do it. Mm-hmm. Or if you're more skilled and you've been around the block a bit, you've picked up these items and learned off other engineers, right?
And I think it's just a case of making it your own as well. It's like you get taught with something and then you find something else and you think, oh, that's a way easier way of doing it. So everybody's got their own personal preference.
Right, so let's pick one and talk about it.
Let's start with the easy one. Let's start with the spring.
Okay.
So this is pretty sort of old school, I would say. This is like
not very common.
It's common. It still has its use today, though it's like. But back in the day, it was just sort of like, oh, get your spring on.
Oh, see, this gives you bendy. Oh, does that? Yeah, that is so. Yeah, I was expecting that to be quite hard. No, it's not. That's really easy. So, okay, cool.
All that does.
And why is that like a straight piece, and that one looks like it's being swayed a little bit?
So that's just basically like a cone piece. So when you're taking that off, you can untwist that, so it takes the tension off.
Okay.
I'll explain more.
Right, no, sorry.
So,
idea. Go for it.
For example, we've got our pipe.
Yeah.
And imagine you've gone through a brick wall. Mm-hmm. So you can put your bending spring on, and then that will go through the wall. So you've got your wall there.
Okay.
And then you can bend that like that.
So assuming your hand never was a wall. So
yeah, imagine that's your wall there.
Okay, yeah.
So now what you've done is you've done a bend out of the wall, but if you was to do this without a spring, you would kink the pipe.
Right.
So this is the whole benefit of the spring. It's just to keep the pipe round.
Okay.
And then...
But that doesn't give you a specific angle or anything like that.
No.
But that looks like a 90 degree.
It looks like a 90 degree, but you can do 45, you can go 180.
You're literally flowing around the shape of the wall.
Yeah, so if you've got...
environment you're in.
Exactly. Yeah. So normally you've got a core hole that's through the wall, and then you're coming down on the outside because you can't get something like that.
No, close to the wall.
Close to the wall. So this is where they come
tight spaces.
Tight spaces. Through walls, things like that.
Okay.
And then this is where your cone bit comes in handy.
So you twist it.
Twist it at the same time.
Okay.
And it will eventually come off. But he's a bit tough because you've just went the pipe, but now a little bit tight. But they do come off.
I mean, almost by he's a bend.
Yeah.
It's a bit on the other end.
I'll just take it off and out, but it's because it's a little bit of pipe. So then there's your 90.
Yeah, and there's no rippling or anything on this.
There's no rippling. You've got like a nice 90 on there.
Yeah.
And then, for example, once you get your lagging on, your cable tied, that's your wall, that's your pipe.
And different sizes or
different sizes.
So
yeah, there's a few in there.
Wow. So you can get various sizes depending on the size of the pipe.
Yeah. So I mean, there's quarter in there. I think goes all the way up to 7/8.
This one.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big boy, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's one actually in the middle of that.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that installed?
Yeah. So that's a 7/8. So that's quite a sort of big darn-up pipe, that. And it's a bit more tough to bend that.
Yeah. But if you've got no choice, because you're in tight space, you've got to go for it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And to keep them, look after them, they
look after them, a little bit of WD-40.
Job done.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, just so they don't rust.
So pretty straightforward, easy to do.
Pretty straightforward.
And I imagine they're quite low cost.
They're quite low cost as well.
Okay, cool.
And they're just a great way of just, when you're in an awkward tight space, you've got to be tight to a wall. They're a really good option if you can't press it. That's spring bend.
Right. Okay. Cool. That's number one. Right. The next one. Which one's the next? This long green thing. Right.
So this long green thing.
Yeah.
Internal pipe bender.
So this is what, nylon? I'm guessing. And you buy it as a kit, or do you?
Yeah,
or
so
do you
they come in a few different sizes, so they'll go all the way up to 5'8".
And I noticed in the bag down there, they're color coded.
They're color coded.
So so the green doesn't mean anything about application. It's about what?
It's about the size, basically.
Okay, cool, fair enough.
Yep.
Okay.
So again, I mean, it's a D-bird, that one. We can use that one. So again, so imagine you're doing a wall mount inside. So you've got your unit on the wall.
Yeah.
Or basically you've got your pipes hanging out.
Yeah.
You can put your spring in there, your internal bender in there.
Yeah.
And then, again, same as the spring, you can just give that a little bend.
So you're doing it with your fingers this time, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, so you're not.
Whereas the spring was on the outside of the pipe,
This is on the inside.
In the inside, right?
So again, it's exactly the same. You know, it's exactly the same sort of procedure.
Yeah.
But it's just to stop the pipe kinking.
Okay.
And then just remove that, and then you've still got your bend.
Yeah.
No kinks, no ripples.
So that wouldn't be like you're doing your 90. That would be if you were to do a small.
Yeah. So like sometimes in the domestic sector, like sometimes you do, because they change the buildings quite a lot. You know, walls go up and down. You know, ceilings go up and down. So sometimes you might have to adjust the height of the pipe.
Oh, okay.
So to get that in there, sometimes you do have to do a swooping bend, things like that.
Swooping bend.
Yeah. It's not ideal. Don't get me wrong. It's not ideal.
No.
But sometimes in the real world,
yeah,
that's what you have.
So if you didn't use that, you're going to get a bit kinking. You're not. Yeah. You're going to get. It's not going to be a nice bend, basically.
I mean, basically, if you was to use that without a bender,
yeah,
that's what you've got.
Exactly.
So, yeah, if you've got that on the inside of a wall, you're going to be in big trouble.
Cool. So it's number 2.
Yep.
Right, move that out of the way. Wow, who'd have thought there's so many different types? Right, next one.
So these are probably...
These are more mechanical?
Yeah, these are the 2 most common types you're going to come across.
Right, okay.
So these mini benders,
yeah,
I love these because they're just for...
They're small.
Yeah, they're 1/4 and they're 3/8.
Right.
They're the only sizes they do.
2 sizes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
In domestic, a lot of the time that's what you're going to come across.
Yes, okay.
So with these mini benders,
yeah,
you can get your 3/8 pipe.
Yeah.
And that basically goes in there. If I can get that in. So that sits in there.
Yeah.
And then you've got...
Oh, you've got your angles?
Yeah, so you've got your angles on the outside.
Yeah.
And then you basically just give that a twist to your 90 degree.
Yeah.
Job done. And that is, when you look at that compared to the spring and the internal bender, it's a lot cleaner bend. So,
and a lot easier. But it all depends on the...
All depends on your location.
The location, where you're in the roof space or upper gates or...
Well, and if you've got an open ceiling, if you've got, if you've got access to the pipe work,
yeah,
they're going to be perfect for you.
And how long do these sort of benders last? Forever?
Mate, I've had those for so long, and I use them like most days.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we could do some fluff.
So there's no cleaning or amendments that you should do on it, or not? Don't know.
I mean, really, you want to keep them sort of clean. So give them a brush over. Just like any tool.
Practice about your tools. Don't a little bit about. Yeah, fine. Okay.
Exactly that.
That was quite straightforward, like that. Okay, cool. And then lastly, you've got this one.
So they'll be called hydraulic benders, crossbow benders. There's a lot of different terms for them.
Okay.
But they basically work on a pump action. So and just work on a hydraulic.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
On a hydraulic pump.
And there's no assembly when you buy it. It's just...
So the only things you will have to change are basically the crossbows, which are these top bits.
Yeah.
So they come for different... Yeah. So they come for different sizes, and also the formers are different sizes.
Right, okay.
So...
Pipe size. But it tells you what it is on there, right?
So yeah, it tells you the pipe size on there. And obviously you've got your pipe sizes at the top as well.
This is generally for bigger size pipe.
Yeah, so this would go all the way up to 7/8 as well.
And coil, straight, doesn't matter. You can do either.
Coiled.
Or we always use coiled. Okay, so use the coiled. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So we can basically put our pipe work in.
Yeah.
Turn our hydraulic bender.
Yeah.
Basically, you just pump it.
Keep going.
To your desired.
Is there any markers on there for?
So there is. So there's two markers on there.
Yeah.
And that's if you're basically measuring sort of like a set. Right. So for example, if we pour a 90 on that, we just do that for
How'd you know you pulled a 90 on that? Oh, because you just did by eye.
Yeah, just by eye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no. That's the thing, is that there's no.
Did you mark it?
You could mark it.
I know when Pete was doing his PB plumber was doing his.
Yeah.
He was suggesting that you can actually mark on the guide
Yeah.
to help people remember that it's 90 or 45 or.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
No.
No.
Just by.
When you were an apprentice, no?
Even when I was an apprentice, it's
you
literally just by eye.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So if you grab me the tape measure.
Okay, cool. There you go. There's one there.
Perfect. So let's say we want to do a bend at 200 mil.
Yeah.
So we mark centre of our pipe at 200,
Yeah.
and that's the centre of our pipe where it's going to be. Okay. So that's 200 mil away. And then what we can do is these lines on the bender, I don't know whether you can see that, but there's 2 lines for where that will mark up the centre of your pipe. So we've got our mark here.
Yeah.
Which goes to our mark on the bender.
Okay.
That will be the centre of the pipe where it's going to end up.
Okay. Yeah.
So what we can do is you give that a pump.
Yeah. Line it up. Yeah.
Line that up.
Yeah.
Square it up. And then you can just bend that round. So then we get to our 90. Like that. And there you have your 200 mil. There's our hydraulic benders.
Oh, cool. Question for you. Why would you prefer bending to, say, connecting a pipe in straights? So like
in fittings.
Yeah.
I would say probably less of a leak point.
Less of a leak point.
Yeah.
Flow rate or not?
Flow rate really doesn't. I mean, I've never had any issues with it. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there like this.
I know in plumbing, the less fittings you use and the more bending you do, the better the flow of water.
Yeah,
but then obviously you're not using water.
Yeah, I would say like the radius of the bend. I mean, if you've got loads of really tight fittings, I think that is just going to affect performance.
And cost as well, right?
Cost as well.
Fees.
Yeah, and sometimes because a lot of the time, if you're using fittings, that means you have to braze.
Yes.
So this will avoid the use of hot works.
Okay, so where you can, you suggest you bend.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. That is a tutorial about the four different types of benders.